Jim Massa, you did the Science Talk with Jim Massa, you did a human population video, and we're going to discuss it. And it's just the idea of, you know, what the human population is and what the future holds and where we were in the past was interesting. You went over. So just one note I had was more stress on land. Can it be sustained? Can it be replenished? So just human population in general, like what are we doing to the environment? How many of us are there and what the future holds? So what's going on?
Well, current levels are 8 billion people.
Okay.
And looking at the projections, some are saying it could hit, somewhere between 11 to 13 billion by 2100, which in my view is extremely not sustainable.
Not sustainable is the issue.
Not sustainable at all. I mean, just using basic ecological principles, carrying capacity, which is defined as the number of individuals of a species an ecosystem can sustain and support based on available resources that can be renewed.
Right.
We're stripping out the resources faster than they're being replenished. And you can't have infinite growth on a finite space with finite resources. Something has to give. And when you look in nature, usually there are corrective measures. That's why when you look at the graph of the carrying capacity, the carrying capacity might be a certain level, whatever the numbers it might be for that population, but it kind of oscillates, right? Kind of oscillates
Right.
around that level. Overshoots a little bit, some corrective measures, brings it back down, and that kind of stuff. What's called negative feedback loops. Negative feedback loops are corrective and helps maintain a somewhat ideal level, or the most, um, the best case scenario, I guess you could say. So we just have too many people. And you need land to house people. You need land to produce food to feed the people, and you need land to conduct business. We're running out of that. We're
Absolutely.
running out of land. And you will not believe the pushback I have gotten from people. I've had people attacking me and this and the other thing, and they're just saying that they think the only problem is food waste. So if you don't waste so much food, you can feed everyone. It doesn't address the growing population problem,
Right.
which is a major problem. And Paul Ehrlich in the 70s wrote a book called The Human Population Time Bomb. He was ridiculed. Well, 45, 50 years later, he's kind of being, he's still at Stanford, by the way, but he's like
Okay.
Professor Emeritus. I mean, he's up there in age, but I think he's been shown to be correct. So I've gotten a lot of pushback from people. I've been insulted and this and the other thing. And on one of some guy say, "You're a naive jackass, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about." So my response to him
Oh my God.
was whatever dude with a kiss emoji. Well, that set him off because he replied to me, "Don't you whatever dude me, you son of a bitch. This is a typical teenager, doesn't have a good argument," and blah, 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 blah. Right. So he went off on me in that. So I then replied to him, I said, well, someone certainly got their knickers in a knot.
Oh my God. Well, it just shows this is like a very touchy subject and it's not popular. We've talked about that before. And just
No,
like humans don't want to address their own species kind of issue. Like we don't want to like self-evaluate. It's too much.
exactly.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's just like I told this guy, I said, so let me get this straight. You attacked me, you insulted me, but you presented zero in a way of any counter argument. So I'm supposed to take you seriously? My whatever dude was blowing you off, but you're too stupid to understand that. And this guy has in his like little description, logical thinker. So I said, logical thinker, laughing my ass off.
exactly.
But I mean, and that's just an example. I've gotten so much crazy shit thrown at me. And it's just
Oh
like,
my God.
but as you said, people don't want to face the fact that there are too many people. And if I'm assuming you watched the video, so you saw
Yes.
the graph and you saw where it starts spiking. it starts
Absolutely. The
spiking.
timeline, yeah.
Yeah, with two major events: the Industrial Revolution, germ theory,
Industrial revolution in medicine. Yes. You're onto something, because that is the issue. Why we were able
right?
to, you know, artificially float support so many human beings is because of industry. And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
that is how we got to this point, how we're able to get these numbers, plus medicine, you said. So those are the 2 points moving forward to keep in mind, I guess, with this issue, because if you take away those, like you said, the graph that you were just displayed in your video, we go free fall because of nature not being able to, support us without
And
industry.
when you look at the human numbers up until about the Industrial Revolution, it, we're talking like what, 100 million, 600 million, somewhere
Under a
in there,
billion, yeah,
under a billion.
under a billion.
That was doable. That was doable. Now, I make the assessment of 100 million. The papers I've seen go from 20 million up to 600, 700 million. The point is, all the papers estimate a carrying capacity less than a billion.
Right, and you've
So,
mentioned that.
so even if you take the 600 million number and we're at 8 billion, that's still like 30, 35 times above the carrying capacity.
It is, and you said the numbers you gave, and I got some of them. The world population clock, we're at 2027.8 billion. This year alone, so far, we've had 132 million births, 55 million deaths. So far, 76 million people were born this year, and then 8 billion is projected as a total. Okay, there's a lot of numbers, but basically by 2100, that's supposed to be almost 11 billion, but 8 billion's in like 3 years. So basically 8
It's
billion to 11 billion. So 11
right
billion.
now. Right now, it's about 8 billion, and between 11 to 13 by 2100. But I still maintain there's going to be corrective measures, and one of the
Right.
corrective measures is going to be wars as you fight over resources, including clean water, access to clean
Oh,
water.
yes.
That to me that's going to be the big one. Not so much oil wars, but
Absolutely,
clean
Jim.
water. And then you're going to have mass starvation, wasting
Mhm.
food aside. You're still going to have mass starvation. And what's the other thing? Pathogens, right?
Pathogens.
COVID is just a warm up.
I know, and look what it's done to our society, and it's a warm up. Like, it
Yeah.
can collapse it in a way, right? So,
I mean, I just put out a video yesterday about the thawing permafrost changing the Arctic. And in there, I talk about, with the permafrost thawing, we don't, and we've discussed this, we don't know what pathogens are going to be unleashed.
I know. Okay.
That could just easily rip through the human population. Not just one, but several of them. And you could have massive die-offs. In fact, what scientist, oh God, I can't remember his name now. He basically said that there could be some pandemics unleashed that will wipe out 6 billion people. In other words, he's talking about 75% of the current population.
Oh, wow. So, wait. Side note, what's going on with that? That's a huge statement. Holy crap.
Yeah, I can't remember the scientist's name. I'm
Okay.
blanking on him,
Well, so
but he
stay
basically
tuned for
saying,
future. Yeah, we'll
but,
figure it
but
out.
he's
But
basically saying that we could be unleashing pathogens as the planet warms
oh,
that could wipe out 75% of the current population.
okay, that's an important number because we view the Black Plague era, the 1300s, as like this horrific time period, and that was micro. Okay, it wasn't a global, right? You could argue because it was like based in Europe, based in Asia. I don't think it got to the Americas. I don't believe it did.
It was Eurasia, so it was regional, you could say,
Okay,
or continental.
so what you just said is incredible because they talk about 1/3 of Europeans' population went, in the grave, and because of a
Right?
black plague. You're talking about 75% of today's population.
Yeah,
Okay,
about 6 billion people.
so we view this. Okay, that's all right. Okay, that's massive. How am I? I'm
It
just trying to
is.
describe. That's massive because the black plague, view it as terrible time. That was 33% of a regional population versus we're talking about 75% of the global population. So anyway,
It's more than double the death rate. It's insane. And
and that could
you
just be
know,
one pathogen, right? Like that's one deadly ass pathogen that just comes in.
with the Black Death, yeah, that was one. We could be unleashing 2, 3, 7.